Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. I am just now realizing that I don't have my ads up, so you're not escaping from the ads today. I just need to get those open. Goodness gracious. I'm unprepared. This Monday's already shot. Maybe we should just give up and not do this. No, I'm kidding. All right, so the Alchemortis playtest is still live for Patreon members. So if you want to join that, first order of business is go to the Steam page and wishlist it. I'd appreciate that. And then if you head on over to the Patreon here, any of the paid tiers will get you instant access to the playtest right now. So either the $5 tier or the $15 tier here. If you do subscribe to the $15 tier for at least 1 month, you will get a full key for Alchemortis when the game launches. So this is kind of like a pre-order bonus here. And your name will also be listed in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So again, you only need to purchase this for 1 month. Of course, I hope you consider subscribing for longer than that because the ongoing monthly income does help me, especially as I'm buying music and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how you can get access to the playtest right now. And again, starting on Friday this week, the playtest will be open to the public and you'll be able to join it through the Steam page. So yeah, just make sure to join the Discord so you can get up to date with all those announcements and when that's happening. But again, there's no FOMO here. You don't have to pay for access to the playtest. It's just that people who are Patreon members will get a week of early access for the playtest, and then the general public will have a week of access after that. And then, of course, I also have my Udemy courses, which will teach you how to build games in the Godot engine. So check those out if you're interested. This is also a great way to support me, but it's also a great way to learn how to build games in Godot. All right. So everything's linked below in the description. Let's get right into it. Hello, High Law. Welcome back. Always good to see you. V, hello. Good morning to everybody. Good morning, Ninja Link. Good morning, Emerson. Jackie Daytona, welcome. It's time for Gamedev once again. It is indeed. Each patron is half a day's worth of McDonald's expenses, a worthy cause. Yeah, just about, you know. Unfortunately or fortunately, I will not be having McDonald's today because I have food left over from the festivities this weekend. So, yeah. No McDonald's for me today. I got to eat my leftovers. I'm not really here, but I thought I'd say good morning anyways. That's all right. Welcome, Asymmetrics. Always good to see you. Good morning to you as well. Leftover McDonald's. Waiting for the store to open. Oh, you got 4 minutes. You should go bang on the doors. Go bang on the doors, demand that they let you in 3 minutes early. All right. Anyway, so what are we doing today? We're working on... What are we working on? we are working on some alchemy changes here. Just to recap what I've been doing with the alchemy. I need a cat cam. My cats are being so cute right now and I don't have a cat cam. Oh well, you just have to believe me. So for the alchemy here, again, so here's the changes that I've been making, just to recap before we get into it. I increased the size of the alchemy board to 3x3 by default. And this is, the reason I'm doing this is because alchemy, it kind of feels bad that you start with a 2x2 alchemy board at the beginning of the game, which gives you very few strategic options, generally speaking. But also, you're at the mercy of RNG as to whether you get that Death Orchid item, which increases the size of the board. So the change that I made is the alchemy board is now 3x3 by default, which you can temporarily expand to 4x4 by using a Death Orchid, right? So what I mean by temporarily is that the Death Orchid only gives you a 4x4 board for the next alchemy, and it will revert back to its 3x3 size. So that gives continual use to the Death Orchids as well. So it'll probably be better or more valuable to hold on to those for longer. Or hold on to those in your inventory. So you got the Death Orchid here, you drop that into the alchemy board. That increases the size to 4x4 for a short amount of time. And then once you do your next alchemy, it will revert back. So I can do this, and there we go, it's reverted back. So that's, again, to address a couple of issues. The issue of alchemy not being super powerful at the beginning, and also to address the issue of you being at the mercy of getting Death Orchids when you want to do more complicated alchemy. So I think this is a nice middle ground. A 3x3 board is still enough room to do some alchemies, especially with the larger cards. You could fit a 2x3 card in here, and then you have 3 more slots on the right-hand side to work with. But if you absolutely need the extra space, you can hunt for a Death Orchid, and then you can use that for your specific alchemy that you want to do. So that is what's going on here. And of course, we also have the negative outputs. So alchemies will now apply negative effects. And this again is to try to balance out the power of alchemy. So you're gonna have to keep in mind the negative effects here. And you may be able to like jujitsu those things where a negative effect could be turned into a positive based on your build. So we're gonna see how that works. We're gonna see how that feels. But I think I generally like the way that the alchemy is going with the reagent system and all that stuff. So yeah, I think we're good. We're on good track here. Cat cam has been long overdue, yeah. Cats being cute, impossible, yeah. Hello, Pavel. How long did you learn programming? I've been programming since I was 14 years old, and I'm 31 now. So what is that? 17 years. It's a continual learning process over 17 years. My cat ate a string of my Halloween costume. We had to pull it from her mouth like a clown tissue trick. Oh yeah, it's a good thing you caught that, because swallowing strings like that can be very, very bad. I'm younger than you by 1 year. Excellent. Welcome back, Real Cruda, by the way. So now, admittedly, I don't really know what to do next. I think what I should probably do is I could either add more negative alchemy outputs, or what? Let me check something. Yeah, I think, so I can add more reagents, more negative outputs. I think I probably need to just give this a test here, because I did make a lot of changes, so maybe we'll just do a play test. I have a bunch of feedback to address from the play test, but I don't want to do that yet because I'm still on a separate branch for all the alchemy changes that I'm making, and I don't want to put like just general gameplay tweaks into that branch. I mean, what I could do is I could just, yeah, let's just give this a quick play test so we can judge how this is feeling, and then maybe I'll merge that branch, and then we can do some other feedback items from this playtest. I've missed a lot, I'm sorry. It's unforgivable. I'm kidding. It's alright. Skipped last stream to do birthday weekend activities, 34 unk now. Are the negatives wholly random? Yes, for the most part they are wholly random. I mean, they are, yes, right now. There's plenty of room. I mean, I have a honey reagent. And that honey reagent, what that does is that removes one of the possible negative effects. Turn cooldown is reduced by 1. Let's put that on there. We probably need to, I need to update that. Turn cooldown there. Let's go to the Ox. Let's just blow through these combats here. Hello, Rin. Welcome back. Good to see you. I've spent about a month or 2 months building a whole mini game that is completely different from any other fishing game. Awesome. How's that going? Are you happy with it? Hello, Michael. Welcome. Happy Monday to you as well. Hello, George. How have you set up your OBS? Your programs are captured perfectly. Yeah, it's very basic. I'm just doing a whole desktop capture. That's it, with the microphone input, and then I have my desktop audio. Just any audio that comes through my computer is being captured, and I just have it turned down. So it's really simple. It's nothing special. Nothing special. I spent all weekend devising a system to prevent runaway recursion in my effect triggers. Ended up being a simple solution. I'm super happy with it. Things like on damage received do damage to attacker on both actors. That would infinitely recurse, but now it doesn't. Yeah, so the way that I know that you already solved it, but the way that I solve that is by having like a damage context object, and then if I track like what the originator of the damage is, or at least what the type is, or what the originator's type is. So like, you know, the originator might be a card or your unit or whatever in one case, but then if you do damage in the on damage received, then the originator is like a side effect, right? And so what you could do is you can prevent side effect originators from triggering those other kinds of listeners, right? So that's why I create like damage context objects where I could just stuff a bunch of data about that instance of damage into it, and then wherever damage needs to be done, it accepts that damage context object, and then I can read the individual pieces of data within that context object to determine if I should act on it or not. But I'd be interested to hear how you solved it. I'm slightly happy with it, but I think there can be more done and graphical overhauled. Gotcha. Alchemizing honey should make any card certified organic, but removing negative effects is also cool, I guess. Well, I mean, since this is in the medieval era, I don't think there's anything except for certified organic foods. I don't know. Did medieval people have a type of pesticide, or were they just like hoping that their crops would not be destroyed by fungus and insects and whatnot? Okay, so I've got some alchemical reagents here. And we've got some boosters. So let's take this. Oh, yeah, very nice. So if I do the abomination... No, let's do this. Dragon scales, gold. I kind of want to do this. And this. And that. Oh, I don't have enough money. Shoot. I do not have enough money. I kind of want to see if I can get an abomination build going here. Let's alchemize those. I don't have enough blood still. What do I want to sell? Sell the dragon scales. I don't need those right now. A legendary dowsing rod. 3 damage per adjacent weapon. Well, that doesn't exactly help. And I didn't get my 50%, although this is fine. We'll take this. Now I need to get a board size increase. There's one over here. I think I can beat the Ox. I've been hooked to this latest playtest. It's been very addicting so far. Thank you, Potra. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like it. I think I think everyone is mostly enjoying the game outside of some quality of life stuff, some weird balance things. I think the consensus is kind of like once you get to the third region, the game is still relatively trivial because you're powerful enough at that point. So we're gonna see what we can do about that. But yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it. How am I gonna do this? I don't have a big enough board here. There's an artifact there. I need more cards. I don't think I'm gonna win this one. Let's see. I wonder if this would actually end up doing more damage. Let's see. Nope. I think I'm gonna get destroyed here. Okay, that is not ideal. So we'll just go ahead and throw these things back on. All right, I'm gonna just die every time. I need this though. Okay, whatever. Holy crap, is that a map with over 300 nodes? It is. Yeah, welcome Cass. It has a tier 3 system, I would say. 1, accept the fish at a cost. 2, bind the soul of the fish. 3, try your luck and deceive the fish. Interesting. I did something similar. All my effects trigger synchronously and have a reference to the battle. So my battle just has a set of effects triggered by type of thing. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Medieval double quarter pounders with cheese. Nightshade was a common poison used in medieval times for rodents as well as arsenic. Okay, interesting. Then when an effect triggers, it enters that set and exits when it's resolved. Anything that tries to enter it checks if it's already on the stack. If so, just don't do it. Yeah, that's a very good solution too. Yeah, very nice. Hello, Meep. The second one brings up a second minigame that you need to fight the fish to get it. Gotcha. That does sound interesting. Am I gonna win? Okay. That was a rough combat. Yeah, I think I need to do something. I think the player needs more opportunities to get cards just outside of boosters, so I'm gonna be looking to fix that as well. But let's go this way. Let's see if I can start getting some stuff here. Let's upgrade that. See if I can recover. Not fight it, bind its soul to a rune so you get the soul cost and log the fish in the book. Gotcha. Okay, guillotine, leech, grimoire. May have to start alchemizing some things together here. 16, 12. I think I'll sell the guillotine. Yeah, that'll work. And then I can put this in here, put that in there. Let's see what I get. Increase turn cooldown by 1, apply 2 poison on self. That's 6 turns right there. Does this count as a weapon? Oh, it does. Very nice. So I can put that there. Okay, here we go. Maybe this is recoverable. Let's see what I get from here. Death Orchid, very nice. More boosters. Okay, all right. We are starting to get somewhere now. We're gonna sell the cultist, I'm sorry. Okay. So the interesting thing about these reagents is that I still need to pay attention to the turn, even though these reagents don't do anything on the board, they're just used for alchemy. they're still used in the calculations when the crit and mult and turns are being randomized. So I do need to think about that more carefully. Interesting. Okay, anyway. Can I win this? I think I'm pretty confident in this one, although I am poisoning myself. Oh, okay. We're good. We are good. I'm going to swing over here. Actually, should I dip down this way? Let's dip down this way. Any good tutorials for, any good Godot tutorials for beginner game devs who already know how to code? PHP counts, right? Well, you are in luck, Lucas. I, personally, yours truly, I have several Godot courses on Udemy that you can consider purchasing if you'd like. But if you're looking for something that's free, YouTube is full of nice free tutorials. GD Quest has a bunch. Heartbeast has a bunch. There's all kinds of like free, longer courses on YouTube, which are pretty high quality, very high quality, I would say. So you can check those out. But yeah, I would say that my courses are specifically designed for people that have programming experience, because I don't like, in those courses, I don't say, here's what a variable is and here's what a function is. We kind of get right into using Godot and its functionality. The courses that I make are much more focused on how to use Godot and not how to program, if that makes sense. I think I'm going to die. Can I recover from this? That's a lot of healing. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of healing. Let's see what happens if I alchemize all those things together. Apply 4 damage, deal 4, apply 4 fire. That's not gonna work. Why do these still have negative abilities? Is my alchemy system still taking? I don't know about this. I don't think this is going to work. No. Okay. I don't think I like how that's working. Let's see. Alchemy Manager. I think I know what I'm doing. I think I'm going to do this. All non-negative abilities is equal to all abilities.where abilities that I still need to figure this out too. Yeah, I need to rework. I still need to rework this, but that's okay. Abilities to add is all non-negative abilities. Is that the way that it should work? Hold on a second. So when you do an alchemy, you get negative abilities on your output. if I alchemize that output ability, should it add more negative or should it replace the negative? I don't know. I don't know what it should do. I mean, I guess in one sense it makes sense that continually alchemizing something is going to continue to add negatives. Maybe I don't want to do that. Oh man, this is actually going to be tricky to get right. Maybe what I should do instead is, let's do this. If I go to my alchemy container, sorry, text messages. Thanks, I'll check out your Udemy courses. Your game's looking amazing. Thank you. I'd recommend Chaff games if you're interested in third-person or first-person games. Okay, yeah, thanks for sharing that. I'll do additional negative abilities here. This negative label, let's just do this. Private string negative label text. Negative label text is equal to negative label.text. We set this down here. Yeah, we're gonna do this. Oh, I need to pluralize that too. Negative label dot text is equal to string dot format. Negative label text, negative ability count, description utils, pluralize that. Get rid of that. Okay, so I think for, let me see, how does honey work here? Honey, alchemy remove negative, removes one negative ability from alchemy output. I think this will work. Hold on a second. I need to maybe change how honey works here. I'm just trying to think, like, this whole new system is adding a bunch of different edge cases and whatnot that I haven't really considered. So originally this honey was supposed to just prevent negative abilities from being added, but since the negative abilities now are cumulative with the alchemy, so you alchemize a card, you get some negative abilities on it. If you take that alchemized card and you alchemize it again, it will have additional negative abilities added to it. But I'm thinking that if you add a bunch of honey to the board, that will reduce the original, or that will reduce the additional negative abilities potentially into the negative realm, right? So if I say, well, this should have +1 negative ability, but you add a honey, and now that's going to remove, you know, such that it's -1 now. It should actually look at the existing negative abilities and remove that from the pool, but I don't know how that's going to work. Maybe I need a separate item from this, for this. I almost need an item that, like, removes negative abilities from the inputs. Yeah, maybe I'll just do that. I'm trying to think of doing this in a way that makes sense, that's intuitive. I'm sure this is going to need a lot of tweaking. Removes negative abilities from inputs. I already did dragon scale. That might be something I want to do. So maybe we'll just keep it like this. I don't know. I don't know. This alchemy system is kind of weird. I'm gonna completely change this. Alchemy abilities to take minimum. Math F stop max 1. Abilities to take maximum. Okay. Where is this being done now? Abilities to take minimum. We're going to do mathutil.rng.randi range. We're just going to simplify this. We're going to make it just a straight random. Okay. Let's see what that does. I'm thinking this is going to make the game even more interesting, but perhaps I'm wrong. Maybe we'll do, I think like I said, maybe I'll do another playtest sooner. Maybe mid-December we can think about doing another playtest once I've sort of honed this system a little bit. Okay. Hello, Rookie Tookie. Welcome. Good to see you. Okay. Now we've got some money here. Maybe I'll just go one more and then I'll grab that reagent there. Okay, let's grab this reagent and then we'll see what's going on. Flint and Death Orchid. All right. So Death Orchid, I don't need that yet. I'm thinking if we put this in here, we put that in there, the syringe. This is not quite right. I need to move this up a little bit, I think. Let's throw some flint in there, why not? Deal 4 damage, apply 2 fire, apply 2 poison to self, increase turn cooldown by 1. Deal 4 damage and heal for the damage dealt, apply 2 fire. Oh, but that increases turn cooldown by 1 twice. The problem is I don't have room for that syringe there. Okay, let's just take the skeleton then. We'll grab this. Incense, wyvern, and funeral pyre. Arming sword, villager 2, villager 2. I don't think I'm going to win against the villagers, but let's see. I did not win against the villagers. That's okay. We can throw this and that on there. Should win this one. Okay. How much money do I have? 11? Oh, goodness. Maybe I do have to fight this one. I think the problem with the negative alchemy outputs now is that it's too hard. It's too hard to get alchemy done early, which kind of defeats the point of increasing the board size. I wonder if I just change the logic for how negative abilities get added. So where is that? Get negative ability count. Maybe I'll just give it some more buffer here. So maybe I'll say you only start incurring negative abilities if you put more than 2 cards in the board. Is that going to work? Let's see. Unfortunately, we have to do all this testing again. That's all right. I think I need to think about this more deeply. I think it's going in the right direction. I think the negative alchemies can be very fun to work with and to work around, but I need to do a whole bunch new play testing to figure it out. Oh, that's not a very good loop, but I do want those cards. Let's go here. So yeah, I think it makes sense for the negative alchemies to only apply when you're doing stronger alchemical outputs. So we won't penalize the player for just doing small alchemies with 2 cards. But when you start getting bigger and more powerful cards, then you'll have to worry about the negative outputs. I think that makes sense, but what I think makes sense and what actually works in game are very often different things. Dragon scales. I would like to keep those, thank you. I'll sell 1. Upgrade a card. Guess we'll have to take this movement penalty here. Okay. Goodness. Let's go to the shop. I think I can beat this one. Actually, I could probably do some alchemy here. Well, let's just see if I beat this first. Yes, I will. Okay. That gives me more money for the shop. We can see what this does. Giant finger. Ooh. Alchemical reagents. Do I need more reagents? I don't think so. Projects to adjacent cards, heal 2. I was kind of hoping I would get a board size increase here, but that's all right. Let's just purchase this so we have that. Take this. All right, now we can do some alchemy here. Let me do this. Take the skeleton warrior, projecting heal. So no, I don't get any negative outputs from this. But I'm going to throw the axe in there now. Cards will have 1 additional negative ability. Well, that works. I can put that there, and then I can take the incense here and put that there. Yeah, that'll work. And take these. I got another Skeletron. Let's see. See how it goes. Oh, I'm not doing any damage. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to do a lot more work with that to figure out a new balance for everything that makes sense. But I think I like that change, not penalizing the player for just alchemizing two things together. So tweak some alchemy. Let's move on to some other stuff here, because I have a bunch of feedback to address from the playtesters so far. So we'll address some of that. But first, I need to merge that. Close Godot. Go back to my master branch. Ah, that's not right. What? Okay. Let's go back in and let's take a look at some of the feedback we got here. So there's a bug where you can double click to open the card inspector. Card hover tooltip does not accurately show turn cooldown. This one's bugging me. Let's fix that one. So let's see where it's pulling the turn cooldown. Base turn cooldown. Now, what is it doing in the card inspector? Base card get turn cooldown. Is that right? I can test this pretty easily. Populate player cards. For test player cards, card.add enchant, new turn cooldown enchant. Enable test player cards. We'll just see if that works. Okay, so now those numbers are in agreement. That's good. Very cool. Oh, I don't need this here anymore. Okay, that was easy. This one needs to be fixed as well. Can double click to open card inspector. I've not been able to reproduce that one. That's done. Let me see if I can reproduce that. Do I need to be in a combat? Let's see. So the issue is that there was two card inspector elements that came up, or that can come up, but I'm not able to reproduce that for some reason. I guess I can't reproduce it. Alright, we'll leave that one on the back burner for now. There's a bug where enemy cards show the sell price. So let's fix that. cell container.visible is equal to card.is owned by player. I think that's all I need to do. I'm so good at programming that all these bugs are super easy. You know how it is. The life of a niche micro eceleb or whatever. Okay, let's see. We get to a combat here so I can see what that does. I should still be able to see the sell price on these things. But no sell price on these. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. What else we got? So I do need to fix that. Scale up resurrection costs after each use. I think that's going to be something that's necessary. Skipping events should reward blood. Reduce the amount of cards. Reduce the amount cards sell for. And increase amount from combat. I think I want to do that one. Currency manager. Sell card. Calculate sell price. How is this working? So this is essentially taking the card's tier and multiplying it by the card area, which is actually not correct. This needs to be base card dot relative occupied cells dot count times price. Let's do price per cell. And we'll make that an int, const int. Price per cell is equal to 1. And let's do price per tier is equal to 2. Base card, does it start at tier 1? It does. So then we can return price plus base card dot tier minus 1. So we'll just increase it by a flat 2 per tier. So previously, the cost would double for every tier increase. So if you had a 2x2 card, that would be 4 blood by default to sell. But then if it was tier 2, it would be 8 blood. But now it's going to be 6 blood. So every tier, no matter what the card size is just going to increase it by 2. I don't know if that's going to work, but we'll see. Hello, Jesse R. Thank you, V, for answering the question. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Honestly, maybe I don't even need to increase the amount from combat. I think this might be okay. Because now these death orchids are not going to be... They're not going to be just free blood, necessarily. I mean, they will be, kind of, but... This should be 3, right? Yeah. Okay. So that should generally nerf the cost or the sell price of cards. And that should also fix a secondary issue where at higher tier shops, the card would sell more than what it was costing. Sell for more than what it was costing. I think that will also fix that. So I'm just going to do with that. I'm going to just make a bunch of changes and I'll play test everything and tweak as necessary. So we fixed that, or we changed that rather. Do I want to prevent Echo from copying projected abilities? I don't know about that still. I think the Iron Gauntlet needs to be nerfed. Let's do that. So the Iron Gauntlet was initially very weak. Then I buffed it, but then I nerfed everything else. So the Iron Gauntlet is now like super strong. We're just going to increase it by 1 after every combat now. Okay. That's done. Skipping events should reward blood. Let's do that. Skipping event should reward blood. Skip event button. Let me go to my skip event button here. Skip event button. Shoot, this is not going to work. Can I change this? Change type, rich text label. Okay. Where's my blood here? Blood, no outline. Let's just grab this. Copy UID. We want this to be a custom minimum size of 11, I guess. Vertical alignment bottom. That doesn't work. Why doesn't that work? That'll work. Let me see what that looks like. Good morning, Chris. Welcome. Good to see you. Oh, now I broke something. Clickable control, visibility toggle target needs to be this. Oh no, wait, I think it just needs to be skip label. This is a rich text label. See what that does? Yeah, that looks fine. So now we actually have to make that do the thing. What I might do is... What do I want to do? And just subscribe to my own signal, I guess. Or an emit signal skipped. Oh, I can just do it in here. Currency manager dot add blood reward. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome back. Good to see you. I wrote a utility script a month ago that replaces icon blood with the image tag. Oh, very nice. Yeah, I have those kinds of utilities. They're just not super fleshed out. That would definitely be better. Okay. I need a skippable event, thank you. Oh, I gotta change that. I gotta change this skip label. Mouse filter. Ignore. Thank you. Just posted in Gamedev channel. Okay, I'll check that out. I will check that out for sure. Okay, awesome. That seems to be working just fine. So we're just going to throw a bunch of changes into the game, and then I'll have to do a bunch of play testing to figure it out. Still not sure about the alchemy negative stuff, but I think I can finagle that to get that into a good spot. I think I can finagle that. Make shop not spawnable in a certain radius of start. Replace ox and scarab abilities. Use period. Let's see. Allow opening combat log after final boss. Do I want to do this? I don't think I want to do this just yet. Let's delete that for now. Do need to fix this. For boosters in alchemy, the board can grow to a size that's too long, disrupting UI flow. I wonder, is there an easy way for me to fix that? I think so. Maybe we'll do that one. I also want to scale up the resurrection costs after each use. I think. I don't know exactly how I want to do that, though. That's the thing. But let's do this one. So the board can grow to a size that's too large when certain operations like boosters and whatnot are happening. So I think what I'll do is I think I can easily handle that. Let me think. I think I can easily handle it. We'll have to test it out, but... Hello, Wooius. Welcome, welcome. All right, give me a quick 3-minute break. I'll be right back, and we're going to fix this bug here. Make it look really nice when getting alchemy outputs. All right, I'm back. Sorry for the delay. Whoops. Let's go ahead and do this one. So inside of my board, or no, cardboard utils, I have this resize board and place cards. So I'm going to need to change this. This is what determines the ultimate board size. So first, I guess I'll show you the problem here. So if I go to my test player cards, and if I put like a bunch of vipers in here, Viper, go into my game. And then I do this. Alchemy, put all those in there. I get a big long board that goes off the edge. So I think I probably don't want it to exceed a 6x6 or a 6 wide size. I'm gonna have to test this with larger cards as well. But I think we can fix this. So let's do this. Private const int max x dimension is equal to 6. What is this? Very basic. If dimensions x less than max x dimension, dimensions x equals max x dimension. So that is going to cause the card to have to wrap. How do I actually do this? This is kind of tricky. This is actually deceptively tricky. I think what I need to do is basically find the max Y dimension of the first row of cards. So I'm going to probably need to think about this a little bit differently. Can't type. I is less than cards. Why is this an I enumerable? Base card array. Okay, well, we'll just do this. Card list dot count I plus plus. So current x dimension is equal to 0. Current x dimension plus equals card list I dot dimensions dot x, but I only want to do that if current dimension dot x plus card list I dimensions dot x is greater than max x dimension. Then we need to start tracking the y dimension. Let's do max y dimension. So my max y dimension is going to be equal to mathf.max, max y dimension, card list I.dimensions.y. Okay, cool. We're going to make that increase in terms of the card's X dimensions. So if the next card's X dimension would exceed that max X dimension, then we need to change this. This needs to change to max Y dimension is equal to mathf.max. Oh, I need to keep track of the var first row Y dimension separately, I think. First row Y dimension, and I'll just make this simple. Second row Y dimension. I'm almost positive there's like a very there's a very sophisticated way of doing this, what I'm doing, with a very clever algorithm, but we're just gonna do it in a very naive way. This doesn't need to be here, this doesn't need to be here. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is var last index in first row is equal to 0. Last index in first row is equal to I. Okay. I think that's going to work. Oh, I do need to change the board dimensions. Set board dimensions. Current X dimension. This needs to be first row dimension plus second row Y dimension. Okay. Then we'll do a for loop here. For var I equals 0, I is less than card list.count I plus plus. We're going to need all this stuff. If I is greater than last index in first row, let's do this. Var current X position is equal to 0. Var current Y position is equal to 0. We're going to set the current X position. Let's say if I is equal to last index in first row, current X position is equal to 0, current Y position is equal to first row Y dimension. Okay, and then this current X position needs to change. So we'll do this. Current X position plus equals card.dimensions.x. Okay, is that going to work? We're gonna have to test this. Why does your VS Code and Godot look so soft? I don't know what you mean by soft. I'm using Dracula as the color theme for VS Code, and I'm using a theme for Godot as well. Godot minimal theme, I think it's called. I don't know. When will be the public playtest? Friday, November 7th. So this Friday. 2069, no. No, not 2069. Let's see what that does. Okay, so that fixed it, at least in that case. I'm going to need to try this with a bunch of different cards, though. So let's do a giant squid. What else is a good one? A guillotine. Let's get rid of some of these vipers. Soft. I like how an IDE can be described the same way I describe my laundry, yeah. It's kind of funny. All right, well, that seems to be working so far. I do want to try it. Let me do this. Oops. Let me try it with a longer card like the squid. How do you organize your game files? I separate my scripts and my scenes, but I mirror the directories. And I put all my assets in a separate asset directory that also mirrors the directory structure where appropriate, but I separate out like by type, like scenes and scripts and assets, because I have assets that don't belong to any particular script or scene. I have scenes that don't belong to any particular script or asset, and I have scripts that don't belong to any particular scene or asset as well. I mean, you can't really put a script on an asset, but I think you can actually, technically speaking, but no one does that. Anyway, so I mirror the directory structures where there are shared resources. So if a script goes to a scene, then that script's directory structure will match the scene's directory structure so that they're mirrored. But I have a ton of scripts in the game, dozens of scripts, where they are not attached to an explicit scene. So they just exist in their own directory in the scripts subdirectory. And the same is true of scenes. Not all of my scenes have scripts either. So that's kind of the way I do it. And then assets, because assets are reusable, I can use the same asset in multiple different places. They don't necessarily belong to a specific scene. I just kind of like organize them however it makes sense in the assets directory. Pot stirring animations are so good. Not sure I missed that before. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. Hello, Clickertail. Welcome, welcome. The year's 2069 Alchemor's 12 brings world peace and reignites the space race. Oh, gosh. I hope it doesn't take us that long to get to the space race. 2069, jeepers. I'm going to be dead by then. Am I going to be dead by then? Probably. No. Wait, 2069 is 40 years from now. Yeah, I probably shouldn't be dead by then. We'll see. When playing the playtest, I frequently found myself wanting to protect a certain effect on a card when doing alchemy. Basically guaranteed it appears on all results. Is there a chance of... We'll wait for the rest of that to come in. Oh, I can't get the... All right, let's just do... How am I going to do this? Maybe I won't use the guillotine then. Maybe I'll just do another Viper. Oh wait, I don't even think the Viper's gonna work. Okay. Put this here. Oh, maybe it... No, it won't work. Well, we'll just do this. See what that does. Okay, that's not the result I was looking for. There we go. Okay, that should be fine. So that's basically... Yeah, that's basically fine. So now it's a wrapping instead of... instead of just extending beyond the screen and pushing everything out. Now this does look a little bit awkward because there's a bunch of empty space here, but I think absent a more sophisticated algorithm where I could detect like, oh, this card could go here and I could shrink the board even more. Absent that kind of algorithm, which I don't really want to spend the time on right now, this will be functional. The main thing was to fix this board growing off screen just by horizontally laying everything out. So now that it wraps, it would be fine, but I could definitely make it so that it's compacted, like it can detect or calculate the best way to pack all these shapes into a grid and do that. But I think that'll work for now. So I'm gonna call that good. Fix issue with card overflows from boosters and what? Alchemy. Getting a reagent so that it makes a card effect appears on all results. Okay, so when playing the playtest, I frequently found myself wanting to protect a certain effect on a card when doing alchemy. Basically guarantee it appears on all results. Is there a chance of getting a reagent that makes it so a card effect appears on all results? Yeah, I think I actually have that written down. So preserves, let's see. Yeah, so preserves all heal abilities or poison abilities or fire abilities. I think that should be possible. I have those written down as reagents here. I haven't built them yet. But yeah, it should definitely be possible. So you should be able to let's say that you're alchemizing a bunch of things that have fire and physical damage. There should be the possibility of getting 2 reagents where both of them, one of them preserves fire and one of them preserves damage. And if you put both of them in the board, then all of those abilities will be preserved. That should definitely be possible, yeah. And it's even planned, actually, I should say. I second Wooius. Okay, yeah. I can't get enough of the UI work. The branches and stone carving look great. The individual pixel work gives it such a strong textured look. Thank you, appreciate it. Swashbuckling games. It took me a long time to get that done, so I'm glad that you're appreciating it. It would make it easier to go for a specific build by protecting poison and fire abilities. Yeah, I agree. So the game is about raging war against the angels then. Yeah, so I've mentioned this before, but like, in this game, you play as the bad guy. Like, you are unequivocally the bad guy. You are the evil force that is coming across the land, disrupting the life of the villagers and slaughtering their villages and razing their towns and all that stuff. You're the bad guy, and that's who you are. I mean, you're a necromancer. How could you not be a bad guy? I mean, you're defiling graves for your own occult purposes. Like, you are the bad guy. And so, yeah, you are waging war against angels, ultimately. Around mid-game, I stopped doing alchemy and alchemized cards because I feared losing synergies. Gotcha, okay. Yes, the goals of the alchemy system are increase strategic depth of the game, make alchemy a little bit more intentional, so you're not purely relying on RNG, and then allowing the player to have more control over chasing that build. Like, those are the 3 things that I really want to accomplish with the alchemy system. And so that's the whole purpose of reagents. So the reagents kind of reduce the scope of RNG. Like, you can control or corral the RNG a little bit more with reagents, especially if you put multiple reagents into the alchemy at once. But you're still up to the RNG of what reagents you loot in the game, right? So you may be chasing a build, but if you're trying to do a fire build and you never get the reagent that preserves fire abilities, then there's still going to be pressure on you as a player to maybe swap what you're doing or take a different approach or work with the reagents that you do have, right? So I don't want to make it like guaranteed that every run you can get the build that you want, because there does have to be an element of like, pivoting and like changing your build up if it's not going the way that you want it to go. But yeah, typically speaking, if you do want to chase a build, it should be possible to accomplish what you're doing, at least in some runs, right? Mid-game was about when I did most of my alchemy, since upgrading early game cards is a pain. That's another problem that I'm trying to fix. That's one of the reasons why I made the alchemy board bigger to start, is that yeah, it takes a while for the alchemy system to actually become useful in the current playtest. So the goal is, can we make the alchemy system useful right away without it becoming super overpowered early, right? And that's why I'm introducing the negative alchemy outputs. That's why I'm introducing all the reagents that allows you to control the outputs. It's like, I'm trying to get to that state where alchemy is always useful, and it'll be more useful if you pack a bunch of reagents into it in just the right way, and it'll be less useful if you just rely on the pure RNG of it plus a bunch of negative effects. So yeah, lots of playtesting to do, lots of tweaking and playing around with it. But yeah, I think the focus of this game is I'm really trying to lean into that alchemy system as being the sort of main, I mean, that's the hook of the game, that's the main mechanic, right? So beefing that up, making it more strategically valuable, making it more interesting, making it more controllable. Yeah, those are all goals for the new alchemy system. Actually, the Necromancer is the good guy because Romancer is in the title, and no meanie would be that. Checkmate. Okay. Agree again. I almost always would fill my board with cards made by alchemizing 2 together and never anymore. It seemed like they would just lose abilities. Okay. Yeah, we're going to fix all that. Ideally, I'm going to fix all that. We'll see. But it's moving in the right direction, I think. So it's just a matter of, yeah, getting it all buttoned up. Yeah, I stopped going for a build at the beginning of the game. I alchemized whatever I had, and some random effects started to stack and show up more often. Then I leaned into that mid-game. Yeah, that's one thing that I don't like about the current playtest, is that there isn't a whole lot of strategic depth because of like you just alchemize stuff together and you just throw together what you have, which can be satisfying in its own way because it's like you're always trying to change and optimize your board. But yeah, I definitely want there to be more ability to intentionally alchemize your cards. Then I lead to that mid-game and protected the good cards and stopped doing alchemy. That surely isn't how alchemy is intended. Right, yeah. Yep, I agree. The other problem too, though, is that I do have to protect against like just making it so that, because one of the problems of the very first playtest is that you would just get like one really, really powerful card and then the rest of your cards didn't make a difference, right? So on one hand, yes, alchemy should be more intentional, but on the other hand, I also can't get back into the state where you just make one really powerful card and that's it. Like you don't need to worry about anything else, you know? So that's another thing that I have to consider as well when I'm doing this. Yeah, I got you. Once you add reagent versions of all the base abilities, it'll be a lot easier to tailor things. IMO, right? The system is still kind of young. Yeah. We'll get it working. We'll get it to work. Okay, so this is done. I already committed that. Cool. I'm going to do this little technical cleanup thing that I've been meaning to do for a while, but I haven't done. I was experimenting with a short description function, but I'm just going to remove that now. And I'm going to get this out of my code because it's just adding noise and it's not used. So just get rid of this stuff. Okay, where else do we have that? What I'm super excited for is the different characters with different starting cards so I can go full Gandhi. Yeah. So I think the way that I'm thinking about doing multiple characters is instead of, you know how like in a lot of games, characters will have different passive abilities and whatnot. I don't think I need to go that far. I think different characters will have different starting healths. They'll have different starting cards. And then the one thing that will differentiate the characters from each other is that they'll have different starting artifacts. So I'm thinking that each character in the game can start with an initial artifact, and that can basically be the differentiation between the characters. So for instance, the character that you're playing as in this playtest is just like a kind of like a normal necromancer, right? So I'm thinking he can start with the Skull Wand, which just increases the crit chance of minions by 10%. So you start with that artifact right off the bat, and that automatically kind of gives you a affinity for minion cards, right? Because you got that bonus. But there may be, you know, a poison character that starts with a poison-based artifact and starts with some poison cards, and so that will be more of leaning into poison, right? There could be a card that's doing like a health build, right? So you start with a health-related item, stuff like that. So instead of being like overly complicated, giving each character like unique passive abilities, I'll just start them out with a different artifact, different health values, and different cards, and that should be enough. And of course, they'll have different art to go with them and all that stuff. Are you planning any kind of rarity system for cards? I'm not currently. I don't know how I'm going to do all of that meta progression and rarity stuff. I kind of like the idea of all cards being equally rare. I guess the question is, what would a rarity system accomplish besides just making certain cards less frequent, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I have to think about that. I've wanted to do a full preserve build so bad, but most of the preserve cards require damage to be dealt first in some form. Yeah, I noticed that too when I was playtesting. I think I have one card for the player that just applies preserve straight up, and it's the giant finger. No other cards do that. So yeah, definitely need to, I think what I need to do is I need to sit down and I need to like come up with a bunch of build archetypes, like a poison archetype, a damage archetype, like a minion based archetype, a shield based archetype, whatever, and then like take stock of all the cards that I have that fit into each of those archetypes, and then figure out how to fill out the ones that are currently lacking. Like, I definitely think the preserve build archetype is lacking right now. And, you know, that's just a consequence of, like, there's only 50 cards, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's a lot of cards, I think, for the playtest, 50 player cards, but it's not enough to enable, like, half a dozen different builds, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that problem is largely going to be fixed as I add more cards to the game, but I also need to, like, I think I just need to sit down and, like, map out the archetypes and, like, try to slot cards in to specific ones. I just had an idea. How about a negative effect that increases the size of the card by 1 tile, making the card harder to place on the board? Probably hard to implement, though. Yeah, that could be hard to implement. It could be hard to implement. I don't know. But that is an interesting idea for sure. Preserve build gets super fun OP if you get the enchant to convert all damage to preserve. Yeah. Generally, the rarer ones would be stronger or more situational. Right, yeah. The problem is, like, the larger the card is, generally speaking, the more powerful it is. So I guess, I don't know, I guess it's kind of weird. Like, if I had a 1x1 card, and 1x1 cards are generally roughly in equal of power to each other in different ways, but then I had a rare 1x1 card, would it just be a straight up more powerful 1x1 card? Or I guess more situational is an interesting one. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. I definitely have a lot of other pressing issues to deal with for this game. So I think once I get the alchemy system nailed down, once I get the difficulty working, once I get the strategy working, like the ability to actually apply strategy effectively working, then I can consider adding more layers to it, like card rarities and stuff. But yeah, we'll do one step at a time here. We'll fix things one step at a time, and we'll see. If common cards are simpler, it would help with easing new players into the game systems. Felt that bleed was a little underdeveloped. Unlocking cards into a flat rarity pool would serve that purpose as well. Are you going to monitor win rates for different cards throughout the playtest for balancing? I don't have any sort of telemetry or, like, logging at all for win rates and other statistics. That may be something that I add for a later playtest, but yeah, I don't have any of that tooling set up yet. Bleed is crazy strong if you build it right. I feel like I'm already making a hit game. You've got some people saying, "Hey, this thing is garbage," and then another person says, "No, you're just doing it wrong." It's like every game forum that I've ever read. It's kind of funny. Could be done with Steam stats, though it isn't really designed for it. Yeah. I think, well, there's a Sentry for Godot, which might be cool. I haven't looked into that at all yet. It's complicated by the fact that I'm using C#. I don't know if the Sentry for Godot has, like, the C# SDK or if it's just GDScript. Of course, I can do the tracking script in GDScript and call it from C#, but Ninja Link is our leading Alchemy Mortis expert. That's really true. Ninja Link is writing very, very detailed, like, QA testing notes, which are very helpful, by the way. I've written down everything. I've actually been just, like, copying your Discord responses in the feedback channel and putting them in my own document so I don't lose them. And then I've been going through and, like, extracting out all the bugs and all the issues, the larger gameplay issues from that feedback. So definitely keep the feedback coming. It's very appreciated. Whether you leave a sentence of feedback or whether you leave a whole paragraph of feedback, all of it's useful. So definitely do that. That helps me out quite a bit. I've seen some people use PostHog. For that, at least, you can just push data to it, so it'd be simple in C# too. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's something that I have to think about for sure. There's so much to do. Oh my gosh. I'm just one guy. How am I supposed to do all this? Anyway, that's done. Okay. What else do we got going on here? How much time do I have? I have like a half hour before I need to get to a meeting here, so let me see. I am interested to see what it would look like to create an alchemy reagent that preserves certain ability types. What would that look like, though? What would that look like? So here's a big question. So if I'm making an art or a reagent rather that is designed to preserve fire abilities, how should that work? Should it just exclude any non-fire abilities from the output? So if you put a bunch of input cards in, should it only choose from the fire abilities that are available? That's question number one. Question number two is, what should happen if there are no fire abilities in input? Should you just get blank cards that have nothing on them? And question number three is, what happens if I put a preserve fire abilities reagent with a preserve poison abilities reagent? Should it keep only the fire and poison? I think that makes sense. I guess my question is more so the wording, right? Like if I say output cards will only contain fire abilities, and that's one reagent, and then I have another reagent that says output cards will only contain poison abilities, but I put both of those on the board and the output cards contain a mix of poison and fire abilities. That doesn't make sense, right? Me watching this instead of deving while my to-do list gets more items on it every single day. Well, welcome, Coral. I'm glad you find this entertaining. More so than your work? No, I think we got a lot of people working on their games as well while they're listening to my sweet, soothing voice. So true. Hello, Cody. Welcome back. I actually got a lot done during the Saturday stream. Awesome. Glad to hear that. So yeah, I think it'll be... I mean, I can start with... I could always show in like an error situation. I guess the main thing I'm worried about is like, should you just get empty cards if you have a fire ability one that, yeah, I don't know. Let's just see if we can get this working from a technical standpoint. So I'm actually going to, let's see. I think this will be relatively easy to do from a technical standpoint. Here's what I'll do. I'm just going to create a test card creation tool. I'm just going to call this test alchemy. I'll delete this later. I'm more interested in getting the technicals working. So we've got the test alchemy there. Let's do another ability here. Let's see. Alchemy, transmute input. Let's create a new composed ability in here. We'll do alchemy preserve or alchemy preserve. Yeah, let's just do preserve ability type. .cs. We're going to add a type, ability type in here. Alchemy preserve ability type. Base composed ability. Okay. Is copyable false? Should remove after alchemy true. Is this even used? I don't think this is used anywhere. I'm going to remove this. I don't think that's necessary. Okay. I would expect them to prevent fire abilities from being lost rather than only including them. Oh, I see. That could work. Well, no, that won't work. Because the alchemy randomizes the outputs. So let's say that you put a funeral pyre in the alchemy. It has its fire abilities, right? But the alchemy result may not output a funeral pyre. So what does it mean to preserve the fire abilities? I guess, see, the way I'm thinking about it is like if it preserved all fire abilities, then it would guarantee that every fire ability from every input card gets added to every output. But that's easily going to get very strong. So what I'm thinking instead is that it just reduces the possible abilities that it chooses to only the fire ones. But the outputs still have to be randomized, right? Like, because if you put 3 cards in the alchemy that have a total of 10 fire abilities, and then this thing preserves all of them, then each output card is going to have all 10 abilities. That's basically creating a legendary output with just that one reagent. It should preserve abilities that the input cards have. Multiple different preserve reagents should all work together. If there are no corresponding abilities, then the reagents don't do anything. How do you search your entire code base for a term? Is that a plugin or a code feature? Control-Shift-F in VS Code, and then you can just do, hello. And that will give you all your results. This might be silly, but since you need to click 3 times to end a run, one eye should light up each of the first 2 times. That's a good idea. Hey, cats, don't do that. Don't do that. Thank you. With the meta being make big powerful cards smaller, have you considered making alchemy spit out large cards more frequently? This could be countered via reagents, so you can still downsize. Yeah, I can do something like that. You could also make it so the reagent only preserves fire abilities of the cards that's adjacent to it, basically making very specific which cards' abilities are meant to be saved. That is interesting. That is interesting. How would I do that? I like that idea. I'm just trying to think. I'm already kind of shoehorning my ability system into the alchemy. Let me think about how that would actually look. So would it be the case then that every output would have... Would every output have those abilities that you're preserving? You can also make it so that the reagent only preserves fire abilities of the card that's adjacent to it. Yeah, I think that can work. I think that can work. Let me just write this down. Public, alchemy, preserved, ability type. Ability type. Shoot, how am I going to do this? New query target provider. Query options dot query directions is equal to board inventory component dot query adjacent. Adjacent. I almost need like a public list base composed ability get preserved abilities. The problem is now I need to create an execution context here. Yeah, I'm going to have to think about how this is going to be technically implemented. I basically need to query the board state when the alchemy happens. Grab all the abilities that have types that match this ability type in here. And then return those out of here. But then I need to figure out what to do with that. Like, does that get added to all of the outputs? I don't know. How do you think when Godot will start support C# for web? I don't know. I don't know. Wish I did. Welcome back, Smash Wall, by the way. Oh, making alchemy board into a puzzle board. Yeah. I think the use case would be if you have a strong fire ability on a card and want to merge it with another strong card without a fire ability, you can ensure the strong fire ability is preserved. If you merge with a card with another fire ability, it's a gamble on which is picked. One fire preserve preserves one fire ability. Maybe. Why did I stop using cursor? Because C# stopped working in it. I don't know if it's still the case that it doesn't work, but Microsoft enforced their C# license stuff and cursor no longer worked with it. Okay. I'm just going to commit what I have here. I need to think about how I'm going to do this from a technical standpoint some more, but I actually am running out of time. I got to get to this meeting in 20 minutes, but we're definitely going to do this preserve stuff. I just need to figure out how it's going to work. There's a lot of big questions to answer here, and I just don't know. I don't know what the best approach is going to be. I guess we just build something and see what happens and tweak it from there. But definitely going to do that stuff. Definitely want to get players more control over their boards. That is definitely something that I want to accomplish. But like I said, I got to get going. I got to eat some lunch before this meeting that I'm going to. But Alchemortis is available for wish listing if you'd like to do so. I very much appreciate that. Also, the second Patreon exclusive playtest is available. So if you want to try the current build of Alchemortis right now, you can join on Patreon at either one of these tiers. The top tier here not only gives you access to the current playtest, but this is also like a pre-purchase of the game. I'm going to send you a Steam key for the full game when it releases. So this is an early supporter bonus, and also you'll have your name listed in the in-game Alchemortis credits. And if you don't want to support financially, that's totally fine. The publicly available playtest will be free for everyone starting on Friday. So if you want to just wait for that, you can go ahead and join the Discord. I'll be announcing in there when that happens. I appreciate all the support. If you play Alchemortis either as a paid Patreon member or as just a member of the general public when it releases on Friday, definitely leave your feedback for me in the Alchemortis feedback channel. I'd appreciate that. And yeah, I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, so I hope to see you there. Have a good day, everybody. And yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.